Mujahideen?
To an extent, what was remarkable about Maguindanao massacre, in many people's estimation, was that it represented a deeper culture of impunity that had many people seek to protect their political interests at all costs. However, I don't think that culture of impunity would actually persist without the perception that there is some tacit approval, at least in the failure to actually address the idea or the existence of private armies head-on. Now, the Maguindanao massacre had, of course, brought the Philippines into the spotlight, particularly in terms of electoral violence. And since then, the government has increased its vigilance and its actions against private armies. But the problem here goes much, much deeper than just the possession of arms and the capacity of private armies to use them, but rather to this notion that there is a culture of impunity in Mindanao and in other parts of the Philippines.
I'll have to agree with Julius in saying that the Maguindanao massacre was the penultimate product of this culture where local governments have been empowered to use arms for their own means just to guarantee the so-called security of these territories. But I wouldn't go so far to say that this is fully representative of the rest of the country, because I believe that the government enjoys more direct control of peace and order in other provinces. However, to address this problem of violence, I think that what the government has to do is to depoliticize the organs of law and order, especially the police and the military in these provinces, so that these politicians from different groups will no longer use these organs for their own personal gain. So unless, I agree with you, that unless these structures are changed, then the cycle of violence will continue, and taking away arms from them is just a temporary solution.
Let's not forget that the military is also having to contend with a Muslim separatist insurgency, communist insurgency in many parts of the Philippines. So the problem is immense, and it needs some very, very specific structural changes.
Well, at this point in time, I think that according to early results, it seems that one person could be the person given this sort of responsibility to make those sort of changes you're talking about. But let's leave it there for the time being and look at on the lighter side of the Philippine election for a while. Let's take a breather from all that heavy talk about violence. Seems the major candidates in this general election